Business on Main Street with your host, Russell. Each week, Russell takes an in-depth look at another exciting business. To get in on the discussion, call toll-free 888-565-1470. Now, let's talk business. Your business. With today's guest, here's Russell.
Hi there. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being with us here on a Monday evening. And a great year, 2020, huh? Everybody's excited about next week, the big election. I know who's going to win it, but anyway, we won't get into that one. But anyway, thank you very much. And we will be talking about business from time to time from now on. And I think we got somebody's going to call in. Did we got Ted on the line? Okay, he's going to let me know. Okay, great. We got a couple of people calling in to tell you what they're going to do in the next week or two. Okay, Ted on the line. We're going to bring in Ted Marr. Now, people who've been listening to the program on Friday evening from about 6 to 7 and been really entertained with Fred Marr. He talks to everybody, and he's a kind of a medium. He's a psychic. He's intuitive. Hey, Ted, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate you calling in. Tell him in a couple of minutes what you're going to do in a couple of weeks with us right here after the election.
Well, thank you, Russell, so much for those kind words. I have actually 4 degrees in 5 different subjects, including international economics from Berkeley, and I'll be talking about how people can thrive and prosper during these new economic times. The planet's changing, industry will be changing with it, as well as the economics. And if you can understand that, you can ride the wave to greater, not only material wealth, but spiritual wealth as well, and enlightenment. So I'll be talking about that on November 9th, and then this Friday, I broadcast from 6 to 7 p.m., and myself, I've been in touch with benevolent extraterrestrial civilizations for the past, maybe 20-odd years, and I'll be bringing messages from them as well on our beautiful, bright future. I broadcast from 6 to 7 p.m. My next show will be this Friday, October 30th.
Well, that's great, Ted. I really appreciate you. You can tell us after the election and how the economy is going to go for 2021. I know you have some exciting things to share with us. Hey, by the way, let me ask you one quick question. Are the off-planet people interested in this election or not?
All eyes of the universe are on us now. This is a pivotal point in human history. They're hoping for us to all make the right choice. But what you should do, I'm not telling anybody to vote one way or the other. They should all look into their heart and vote for the candidate, regardless of whether they're Republicans or Democrats, that resonates with you the most. If you'd like to check out my shows some more, my website is www.outofthisworldradio.net. And all my shows, most of my shows are there, and I think you'll find it very interesting. But this is an exciting time to be here in human history. The planet's ascending. Parts of the planet already are shifting into the 5th dimension. And by 2025, 2024, this process will be completed. With the higher dimensions will be a new economics and a new spirituality.
Wow, you got some great information for us next week, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And Teddy is going to be with us, and she's going to be asking you various questions next week, so you got to be on your P's and Q's. How's that, Ted?
Yes, I'm very excited about asking questions. It sounds really crazy to me, like interesting crazy. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Ted, thank you very much for being on for a minute or two, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, my pleasure. As they say in Star Trek, live long and prosper. So.
Okay. Well, back here to WWN. And this is the business show. So we want to talk about business. I think we got another young lady calling in, and she has been on the program previously doing a great job. And his name is Jane Manette. She's been a network marketer for a long time. Mm-hmm. And she's also been helping people as a psychiatrist, if you will, psychologist. I'm sorry about that. And so she'll be on in a few minutes. Jane, are you there? Is she there with us? No, not there? Okay. Any questions you want to have? Talk to the people. Oh, she is. She is. Okay. All right. So she's coming in. Teddy is with us. Teddy.
Yes.
Right?
Hello.
Right. So, Jane Manette, come on in and give the people who may not know you some of your background and some of the things that you've been doing with LPN and all that. Okay. Would you do that for us?
Can you hear me? Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for inviting me on the show, and it's very exciting already. What Ted had to say is very exciting. I just want to say that these are some amazing times, and they are opportunities as well as challenges for us, the things for us to adjust to, changes for us to make. And I've spent most of my life in the leadership and training and development area, helping people realize their goals. And I got involved in network marketing, had a lot of success, and I've done lots of training. I've spoken to over 1 million people. But what I do now primarily is I'm a transformational therapist and coach. And I'm a transformational hypnotherapist and coach. And I help people identify and get rid of limiting beliefs that are interfering with them living the life that they want, living the life that they deserve, living the life that they dream of. And most people would love to scale, have greater impact, or more fulfillment. And that's what I specialize in, helping people identify and then eradicate those beliefs that prevent them from having what they want to have, experiencing what they want to experience, and being what they want to be.
Okay, great. Excellent. Teddy, do you have any questions over?
I do, and I just want to say you sound like an angel. That sounds like exactly what this generation needs is get rid of the fear, get rid of the limiting beliefs, and reach your full potential. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And what's so amazing about it is that most of our beliefs were formed by the time we were 7 years of age. So we're not even aware of them. So our beliefs are running our show, and we're trying to be good boys and girls living up to those beliefs, being consistent and complying with those beliefs, and we're not even consciously aware of what they are. So when you work hard and you don't get the results that you want, or you're very successful in one area, but in another area of your life you just can't get it together, that's based upon limiting beliefs. And once people become aware of them, the power of the negative limiting belief just disappears. So we identify and then eradicate them. Because if what we believe is not consistent with what we want, our stated goals, our direction, our path, our journey, whatever, if what we believe is inconsistent with that, we're involved in a lot of continuous self-sabotage. And sometimes that expresses itself as fear, sometimes as depression, sometimes as loneliness, sometimes as isolation. Like with all the changes that are going on, and ones that you've mentioned, Russ, people are definitely, network marketing is just a phenomenal answer to a lot of people's problems now. Not just because of the money, and we always talk about the money, but what I'd like to talk about is that it's a way to stay connected. It's a way to use one's skills in a new way. It's a way to belong to a group and to get supported. One of the things that I really enjoyed most about network marketing was the camaraderie and the loyalty. Like that's how I met you. That's how I met Les Brown. That's how I met lots of people. It's through network marketing. That's how I met Jim Rohn. That's how I met him. I met lots of really beautiful people through network marketing. And we all know about the money. We know about that. But what I'd like to just have people think about, with suicide up and loneliness up and isolation and depression up among all groups across all economic groups, all ages, all races.
But Teddy represents the millennials here. So how can you help the millennials? Millennials maybe have a little bit of difficulty of making this adjustment through this pandemic, if you will.
Yes.
Talk to them about that.
It is a huge issue right now in millennials, Gen Z, even Generation Alpha, that anxiety, as I'm sure you know, anxiety is spiking, especially with the election coming up, with COVID happening. I mean, I want to ask you, what can we do to calm down? Because I've tried the meditation. I've tried the incense. I've tried the yoga. Nothing's helping. I need that true, doctor stuff.
No, I can understand. And deep breathing does help momentarily. But when you have a belief that you've instilled in you or instilled by others, that you can't fail no matter what you do, that you can have experiences, but you can't fail. You go about life with a different pattern, with a different expectation, with a different frequency and energy. And if you have a belief that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I can never measure up, no matter how hard I try, things don't work out for me, the harder I work, the worse off I am. If those are your beliefs, then you get some pretty predictable results also. So what I say is become aware of those areas of your life that you're not comfortable, not functioning the way you want. Identify the areas, and then let's take a look at those beliefs. Let's look at what beliefs are holding those behaviors and thoughts together, because how you feel is really based upon how you think and what you say to yourself, and what you say to yourself is really based upon what you believe. So unless you get to the core belief that has us feeling less than adequate, then no matter how much meditation and singing and chanting we do, until we identify and eradicate those beliefs, we're still stuck with that same pattern. And what the work that I do is rapid transformational therapy. It's quick. You know, I was trained as a traditional clinical psychologist, and we were trained to keep people in therapy for months and years sometimes.
Oh,
I
wow.
seldom see people more than 3 times. Most problems are resolved in 2 sessions, and almost all problems are resolved in 3. Isn't that incredible?
I wish I had you in high school as my therapist.
I think all of us need her.
Yeah.
You just came back from England studying with Melissa.
Yeah, I decided to go and study.
Could you talk about her just a bit
with-
and the kind of training
Oh,
that you
sure.
took in England?
She's phenomenal. She's voted the #1 therapist in England. She's voted of the top 25 doctors, and she's not even a doctor, but she trained so many doctors and she works with so many physicians. She's treated people for the last 35 years, and she's been extremely effective at creating a simple, very, very simple way of getting people to access their limiting beliefs, safe, it's comfortable, there's no trauma, and then eradicating them. And it's all very conversational. It's all very relaxing. And I flew there to be personally trained by her. Oh, I've been trained in hypnosis and therapy and all kinds of stuff. I'm an NLP practitioner, but I wanted to go and get that special thing that she had, because what she says, it's like when you go to the dentist. You don't want to go to the dentist every week and talk about the problem. Well, I couldn't eat steak. I was embarrassed to eat ice cream. The pain is there. You want the dentist to solve the problem. Get rid of the pain. So we don't talk about a lot of past history and past efforts. We talk about what's troubling you now. What is it that you want to accomplish? And let's find out what beliefs are interfering. And then we take you back to your early years, and we actually see things that show when these beliefs were formed. And once the light of understanding, and see, we formed these beliefs before we were of the age of reasoning. So once the light of understanding is on it, wow, people can see the connection. Oh my God, these problems I'm having in my relationship is because of this conversation I heard my mom and dad had. And I just felt I could never really trust anybody, et cetera, whether it's with money, relationships, career, self-esteem, whatever, health. So I'm really fortunate, and I feel very honored to be able to work with people in this special way. And I especially have passion for women and children. That's my passion, because we have some extra needs that society doesn't always acknowledge. So I'm especially devoted to female leaders, entrepreneurs, mothers, and people who are in a position who want to help and influence and empower other people's lives. That's my passion.
Okay, well, people who want to look at what you are doing, you have a website. Could you get that out? And maybe you have a phone number that you can pass on to us?
Absolutely. Just go to www.clarityconfidence.impact.com. clarityconfidence.impact.com. And you'll get an overview of what I do. My phone number, the best number to reach me, is 954-260-4017. 954-260-4017. And you'll be pleased to know, my dear, that my practice is totally virtual. So it is COVID compliant.
I see, I understand. Teddy, how do you think that's going to help people in contrast to the traditional therapy where you have to see them 1,000 times?
Oh, well, let me tell you, the fact that I had gone to therapy since I was a kid, and you had to go twice a week, and this was just for, normal anxiety, normal things with people my age. You had to go twice a week. It was an hour session. By the 3rd week, you're like, I've told you about my day for 3 weeks in a row. Nothing's helping. I can't keep telling you about my day. The fact that you can get that done quickly, you can get it done concisely, and I can know exactly what's going on in my brain to just pinpoint it and get rid of it, move on to a better self is enormous. I mean, that is shocking me that you can do that, and that is a huge breakthrough. Because I don't think anyone in my generation knows that happens or that works. And if you could get that out there, if we can get it out to them, oh my gosh, it would break through what people think they can do.
Let's do, I think what we want to do is talk about a little bit of background. Jane, could you talk about Melissa and her background and how she came to this juncture in time to make this faster rather than me sitting with her for 1,000 years to get to...
Let's talk about my day 50 times.
She herself had troubling challenges in her childhood. She wasn't perceived by her family to be bright or exceptional, so they told her to become a nanny, just become a nanny. And she rejected that. And then she was told she couldn't get pregnant, and she got pregnant, and she realized, I'm not going to listen to these people. So she really learned that what you say to yourself is really more important than what other people say to you after you're an adult. But what they've said to you between 1 and 7, we don't know what they said, but the impact is working and operating in it, part of our operation system. So she got introduced to hypnotherapy, and she worked it, and she was working with Jane Fonda in those days with her fitness launch. And she saw so many of the people had all these eating disorders and fears and anxieties. So she started practicing on the people that she was working with, got phenomenal results. And the results that I get are just amazing. And it's not me, it's the system we use. It's the way we, like you said, we identify the limiting belief, expose it, eradicate it, delete it, and then the person isn't bothered by it anymore. So it's absolutely revolutionary. And who wants to spend a year sitting on somebody's chair talking about the same problem over and over and over? Total waste of time. Nobody wants to spend their time like that. And it's not effective. So we're talking about is fast, permanent change. And Marissa is just amazing, in fact, that she's been able to create the system. And now she just teaches other people like me how to use her strategies, her system to help people. Children, older, male, female, doesn't matter what the problem is. It doesn't matter. It's all based upon limiting beliefs that have us in a vice. And once you expose that vice is broken.
Okay.
Never to control it.
Why don't you give us a couple of examples? You have been working with a couple of people lately. So what are some of the examples that you can share with us?
Well, I had a military guy. It's interesting. He was raised in a very military family. His family was very strict. And he lived his whole life. He didn't realize it until after he worked with me, like with the brakes on is how he described it. He was extremely self-critical and extremely critical of everyone else, made it very difficult to have intimate relationships, very difficult with personal relationships. Once he had the session with me, he only had one session with me, he said it was like a light turned on and like weight dropped from him. So he's not focused on what he's doing wrong anymore, what everybody else is doing wrong. It made him much better at relationships, made it much easier to focus on what's important to him. I have a guy who was about to commit suicide because somebody in his office was doing something fraudulent, and he thought he was going to end up in a big legal mess with the problem. And I said, let's just take one thing at a time. When he realized, when he got those limiting beliefs about not being enough or being afraid or being inadequate and the insecurities that he had, he handled the situation. He met with the authorities. They said, clearly it's not your fault. We're going to get rid of these people, but it's not your fault. And in fact, he even attracted an opportunity, and he told me that he's making more money per month than he's ever made in his life. When your energy is freed up, when your energy is not tied down with guilt and shame and anger and resentment and depression and fear, and that energy is freed up, you just can be magnificent. You can soar. You can fly.
Well, during these days of the pandemic, how do you see things morphing or developing from in 2021 and on? I mean, people are going to have a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of fears, hates, insecurity, feelings of the whole 9 yards. How do you think people can adjust easily? I mean, what can we do?
One of the things is that we really are all more resourceful than we realize.
Uh-huh.
And we have more resources than we really count and identify and acknowledge. And our biggest resources are the people in our lives. So this is the time to make a list of those people that you value and that value you and that see you and get you and understand your goals and motivation. This is the time to tighten your circle, to be around people that truly support you and get you and believe in you. This is the time to devote yourself to those people that you love and admire as so they will be in a position to support you. This is the time to really strengthen our personal, individual, intimate networks, because that's where our greatest resources are. Individually, people that are trying to do things the way they were done before, it's going to be rough. Mm-hmm. But collectively, when you take your talents and my talents and this lovely lady's talents and the talents of other people around us, there's nothing we can't do collectively. So now the whole emphasis on me, individuality, that's what isn't going to make it. We need to move into a we mentality, being a part of a group, supporting other people, and being supported by others. And see, that keeps people connected. And connected people aren't depressed and commit suicide. Connected people can handle difficulties and setbacks and temporary problems because they have a support system. So if all you had as a support system was your designer clothes and your bank account and your fabulous car and your expensive condos or home, then you're a very lonely, isolated person. But if you take the time to cultivate a warm, nurturing relationship with other like-minded people, then you will survive.
I think Teddy agrees with you. Go ahead, Teddy.
I was going to say, yeah, I love especially what you just said, cultivating the warm, loving, the trusting relationship, because I've seen through COVID, a lot of people, they're kind of online, they're forcing relationships a little bit. They're doing a lot of forced, even love relationships because we're so isolated. Most of us are in quarantine that we don't have the ability to actually sit down with someone and actually feel their energy, feel the vibe, feel, for any better lack of the word, their personality. You're just seeing it over text or over a video camera. And you're right, it is so important to cultivate a real, slow, nurturing, trusting relationship, because that's a support system that you need to get through this, not some random people online who, type nice things.
Absolutely. And the thing about it, we often feel that we need a lot of people in our lives to be successful. Not true. You only need one or two people that really believe in you. So those people that you really believe in, call them, tell them. Tell them how much you admire and appreciate them. Those people that appreciate you, those are the people to cleave to get closer to. We don't need a lot of people, but we need quality people in our lives.
Okay.
People that we trust. People that we honor.
That's really good information. Let me do this. Look, there are a lot of people who will be, like, I was just looking at some statistics the other day. 20,000 businesses plus will be closing, like Macy's and Walmarts and all that will be closing across the country. So a lot of small businesses are going out of, they're just going to close the doors. American Airlines are going to lay off 20,000 people in the next month. United Airlines, 27,000. And so what do those people do for a living, to eke out a living? What do you think they should be looking forward to doing?
I mean, at some point, remote work, in my opinion, is the best. And please correct me if you have a
network marketing is so wonderful. It's a home-based business. They need to take an inventory of their passions and their skills, and then create opportunities that are involved with. See, sometimes on these big jobs where they're having all these promotions and pressure, they may not necessarily be doing what they love. So if they're fortunate enough, great. Now, since it's time to reorganize your life, organize it around what you love, what you enjoy. Choose to serve people that you want to be around. So this is a great opportunity to take some inner inventory and say, now, the job I had, that may not ever exist anymore, but what do I do better than everybody else? And what do I do so good that even if I didn't get paid for it, I'd do it anyway?
And now's a whole new time, too, to get into creating what you want. I've seen a whole bunch more people, they've started freelancing. They've started doing, okay, I now have my remote job because as someone who's looking for remote jobs for a while, they're not. I wish you could find better ones that weren't customer service.
Okay.
That's my goal.
Okay.
But now you have more time to say, okay, I have that job.
We have to create those. And they're
exactly.
There. What service do people, who do I really like to serve? Who do I get the most joy from serving? Create services around your talents, your passion, your abilities, and the people you want to serve. And then it's not a job. It's a life. It's a journey. It's a path. It's a passion.
Well, that's a cul-de-sac to run down. How do you determine what it is you like to do, what is it you want to do, what is it that you rather do than anything else? How do you get to that point you can do that, is my question.
There are people who don't know
Please
that.
tell me.
There are people that have been so programmed and living out other people's ideas and other people's goals and on other people's tracks that they don't necessarily even know their own heart. Just have them call me for a session.
Okay.
I can help them get real clear about that.
Okay.
954.
And your number again then? Your number again?
954-260-5255. 4017. Because that's an essential question. What makes my heart sing? And
Okay,
if you
Teddy.
don't know the answer to that,
Teddy wants to chime in on this. She wants to get in on this. Come on.
I just want to say that is a huge thing because I know so many people when I was in school who exactly said both my parents were doctors and I have to be a doctor now because they were doctors. My parents want me to be a lawyer. And that is so hard to break through that wall of I've been told my whole life I have to be a doctor. I've been told my whole life I have to be a lawyer. But what do I want to do? Do I really want to be a doctor? Do I really want to be a lawyer?
Right.
Do I want to be an artist?
Right.
And that is one of the
do I have
hardest
to take
things to
over
break
the family
through.
business. Program, because so people who find themselves in that situation, this COVID-19 disruption that's happening in all of our lives is a great time to take your life back, claim your power, claim your right to live your life on your own terms. And if you need support in that, don't hesitate to call me. Go to my website, www.clarityconfidence.impact.com.
And may I say that she said that people can get a complimentary analysis of the situation they're in if it wants to make that phone call. So, so she's willing to do that.
We can certainly have a discussion. We can certainly have a discussion as to if I'm a right fit, if they're a right fit for what we do. I'll be glad to have a discussion with anyone. 954-260-4017.
Teddy, how would you close it out? I think we have, 1 minute? 1 minute, Teddy?
I would say thank you so much because, again, this is something that right now everyone needs so much in COVID is to quickly get in touch with their inner selves, quickly find out what's happening. We don't know how much time we have in quarantine. We don't know how much time we have to sit and talk on a couch. And thank you so much.
Well, yeah, it's been good for me. I thank you very much for listening to the show. And so next week, same time, same place, we'll be here with Ted Marr. He's going to talk about space aliens and all the like. So right here on New Business on Main Street. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Teddy.
For letting me be
yeah,
on.
thank you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
You have been listening to New Business on Main Street with your host, Russell. If you have a business idea and want to share it on the air, call Russell directly at 561-302-2588. That's 561-302-2588.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its